Attention, attention. All the things you've been swooning after on the LadyGang.com, all of our clothing and beautiful merch. There's a huge warehouse sale happening right now. It's not going to last long, but go over to shop.theladygang.com and you're going to find some epic things. Like you can get a velvet dress for $39. You can get a hat for $10. The swacket is $99. Head over there. There's so much greatness. And you know what? You're welcome.
Well, what is this?
Welcome to the Lady Gang.
That's amazing. Say that again.
The Lady Gang.
Things are about to change around here.
Each week we catch up with Hollywood's hottest girl posse, Kelty Knight, Becca Tobin, and Jack Vanek.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Lady Gang. I'm Becca Tobin here with Jack Vanek and Kelty Knight.
Good day.
Good day.
Good day.
Guys, speaking of a good day, well, I don't know if it's good. Speaking of British accents, I just watched Spencer last night with...
Oh, how is it with Kristen Stewart?
Kristen Stewart.
She's never even heard of it.
It's about Princess Diana. She plays Princess Diana. I think it was a beautiful movie. I think that it was really well done. I just think that there's like... If you were to read that script, I'm pretty sure there's like 10 lines of dialogue in the entire thing. So it's like... a lot of like beautiful shots and being in like very tight close up on her face while she's kind of like mid cracking. You know, it's like when she's like having this, it takes place over 3 days when she has to go spend her last Christmas with like the royal family. And you can tell she's literally just
melting
at the end of her rope. It was like a great watch for a leisurely evening. Zach would have never, ever endured more than 3 minutes of it, but he was out of town. So it was lovely. And her British accent was pretty good. So that's what made me think of it.
Was it like an artsy movie, like artistic movie?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot, like more artsy than like commercial, I'd say.
Interesting.
It reminded me there were elements of like a Black Swan situation. Yeah. Maybe it was the same. Was it the same director?
It's hard to do Diana right now because there's just so much. Like The Crown is so f***ing good that it's like, oh my God, how do you even like compare to that? And then they tried. Broadway did a Diana musical. It like closed in a show.
That seems like a weird choice.
Opening night. It was so strange.
Yeah. What's it like?
I am sad. I am sad.
And then, like, do they go until her death?
I am dead. I am dead.
Seems very bizarre.
It is weird. Okay. Oh, I guess the same director actually did Jackie, which it reminded me a lot of with Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
It's like watching a woman have a nervous breakdown, I guess.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Sounds fun.
Cool.
Well, on that note, it's time for an uplifting session of...
Good week.
Yes, it is.
Bad week. Oh, no.
Who would like to kick it off?
I am.
Okay.
Oh, she has a ring.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay, so here's the story. For my birthday, my mom really fucking got me. I had a big cry about it. So my mom is notoriously, and I know she's listening to this podcast, even though I told her not to, a pretty terrible gift giver. She always wants to get me something from like that store Signals that it's like, oh, I got you a tea towel with your face on it. Or like, you know, and she's always like, I don't know what to get you because you have everything. I'm like, just get me bath bombs, you know? But she loves to get like a garden gnome, and Chris is like a no garden gnome kind of guy, you know? So it's my 40th birthday, and she wrote me this amazing card, and she ended up sending me this jewelry box with 4 pieces of family heirloom jewelry.
That's amazing.
This is my favorite one, and this was my great-grandmother's ring in Scotland.
Whoa.
And she was given it by my auntie on her birthday, and now it is mine, and it fits perfectly.
It's a beautiful, is it an amethyst?
It
or
looks like a
purple
blue
sapphire?
topaz. Yeah, something like that. I have to like go and look. And then there was 3 other ones, and then they're all from like her mom's side of the family, and I have some jewelry from my dad's side of the family, but I put it on, and it's like just such a beautiful blue color, and I feel like so excited that I have a family heirloom, and I haven't really had an heirloom before, so now I have an heirloom. Yay.
Wow, Sheila crushed it.
Did you ever end up buying yourself like a big ring for your birthday?
No, because
you
Chris came home from Dubai with a Christmas birthday gift for me and got me that big emerald, and now I have this, so like I don't need another piece of jewelry in my life ever.
I know, look at you.
Look
at you. Manifesting all this jewelry.
Royalty.
Ooh. Wow.
Ooh. Okay, my bad week is very quick, but I I'm sure everyone else has done this. So I do not like spending money on stupid things. So like I don't speed when I drive. Like I always pay the meter. And like if I'm getting my hair done and like I know my meter's going to run out, I always make the way. Like people are like, oh, whatever, I'll just get a fucking ticket. No, you are not getting my $60 for parking on Earth. No,
Same.
no fucking way. So I was really excited because I was going to this meeting and I went, I parked my car, I paid the meter, I went in and I came out and I had a fucking parking ticket. And I was like, what the actual, how did I get a parking ticket, you guys? I paid the wrong meter. I like walked out of the car and like went and stuck my card in someone else's white SUV's slot. And then, you know, you're looking at your phone and you're checking your lips and like whatever. Anyway, I'm a fucking idiot. Okay.
How much was your ticket? $60?
$65, $62 or whatever. I'm like,
That's
ugh.
insane.
You know, if you put that money in the stock market, it could be $500 by the time.
Well, shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's called life tax, you know?
It is life tax. I
you
love
know
the
what?
life tax.
You
though.
also, that's like some good karma for paying somebody else's
Someone
meter.
else's.
That will come back to you at some point.
will it?
Easy come, easy go, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Just don't worry about it too much. I'll go next. So my new thing, well, I basically have unfollowed like every single human being on Instagram, and I've been filling it up with like Seinfeld accounts and French bulldogs. And my new thing to follow now are frogs. So I've started following a lot of frog accounts and toads and stuff like that. They have hats on, like little cowboy hats, like bow ties. And I must have followed so many, and they've become like such a part of my Instagram life that I've gotten multiple DMs from people being like, and I'll pull one up right now. Says, Instagram suggested this account to me since I follow you, and it's a Toads account.
Oh my God.
Oh, so now you're influencing the people who follow you?
Yeah, so now my account is closely related to frogs. So, and I'm really spreading the love to all of my followers, which I'm like, you know what? This is on brand for me. I think more people could follow frogs and hats on Instagram because it's a lot more delightful than you may think.
Do you like frogs in real life or just on Instagram?
I don't think I've met these types of frogs. They're very round. Like they almost look like they're filled with air, which, you know, I love like a round
Like a
animal.
bullfrog? Is a bullfrog the one that's filled with air?
The bullfrogs, I think, are pretty round, but these ones are specifically very round, and they have actual butts. They have like really cute little round butts on them. So that's really, I liked them walking around because they look like little fat men.
Okay. I'm just going to tell you that there was frogs in the slough by my house growing up, and they're pretty fucking disgusting.
I don't like the, no. It has to be the specific type. I don't know. The round frog. So that's my good week.
That is the most Jack Vanek thing of all time. She's like, I just love frogs. I've been following frogs, but only a very specific type of contextual frog with this specific body and color.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a frog with 3 legs.
Aesthetically pleasing.
And an aesthetically pleasing frog. That's so funny.
Okay, so that's my good week. My bad week is also related to Instagram because I've realized that I really fucking hate a close friends list on Instagram. And I've realized that through the fact that any close friends list that I am currently on, so I'm like seeing their close friend stories, is one that I don't want to be on. There's never been a story that I've seen that I'm like, oh, I'm really glad that I got this like really exclusive content from this person. It's always people that I'm like, I don't even want to be your friend in the first place. And now you're feeding me all this shit about like your kids that you don't want other people to see, or like you working out, or like it's all stuff that I don't want. And I want to be off of their lists.
You can mute them.
Oh my God.
I mean, hello, welcome to 2022.
Wow.
This has been an option for you for many years. And by many,
I
I mean like
completely
2.
forgot about mute. Becca, you're the only person I've ever muted before, remember?
Yes.
By accident, right?
No, she unfollowed me.
No, I muted you from seeing my stories. No, I blocked
No,
you.
you
I blocked
blocked
you.
me.
I forgot about
A
muting.
real
I've never
bitch.
muted anybody. Wow, this is really a revelation.
Oh, I've muted like half
My
the
whole
people
life
I
is
follow.
muted.
Yeah.
But I am like, it's also with people that I'm like, why am I on your close friends list? Like, we're not close. How did I end up here?
That is weird.
Remind me
That's
not to
very
send you a
weird.
picture of my dinner on the close friends list.
don't.
Please do remind her because I don't want it either. Okay, my good week is that I just went to on a girls' little getaway, 24-hour getaway with 4 girls, and we went to Round Top, which is this
So
big antiques
jealous.
festival. A big
Wait, it's a
antiques
festival?
festival. Yeah, it happens like a few times a year in Texas. It's basically where like all the big fancy designers come and buy their shit and then they turn around and sell it for like 10 times more.
Is it really much cheaper, like sitting at Round Top, or are they getting smart enough to be like, no, we could charge $5,000 for this credenza?
It's all relative because like there are some pricier vendors, but still, like, not to name names, but there's some fancy people that are major in designers in LA. They're still taking that like $5,000 coffee table and charging their clients like $15,000. Okay. So they're still marking it up. So you can go and get like incredible stuff. And then there's the lower price end stuff where it is a deal.
Yeah.
So it's just cool. And then the pieces are really cool. So they have this thing happen a couple times a year, and 4 of us went down and stayed at this little, they have like, it's like the smallest little town ever, and they have shops everywhere. You can get vintage cowboy boots. You can get, you know, it's great meals. So we went and stayed at this place. It was really cute. And I just have never had a girls trip where like my stomach hurt from laughing so hard. My cheeks hurt from laughing so hard. Ugh. It was like a much needed girls trip. Like, don't get me wrong. I enjoy traveling with Zach, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. We're, you know, sitting around a bonfire. We're meeting the locals. We're just, you know, it was just a really fun time. So that was my good week.
I love that for you.
Thank you. We're going to go back again when it happens next in March. My bad week is when I was in Vancouver and we knew we were getting a new puppy. I went shopping online for some cute, chic dog bowls. So I find this like bamboo dog bowl situation. It's all really pretty, and I order it. And it was during COVID, so I expected things to take a long time to come. And so I realized when I was doing my taxes, this is like a year later, that I never received the fucking dog bowls that I got charged for on my credit card statement. So I go to the website and non-existent. It no longer exists. I go to the email they sent me, and then I emailed to like the info at, it was like Top Love or something, Top Love Pets. And those motherfuckers just took everyone's money and shut down their operation, and I'm never going to see that money again.
Did you Google it to see if there was any like complaints anywhere?
No, it just not, it ceases to exist.
Oh, that sucks.
So,
but how's Babs going to have water?
I mean, she has plenty now, but it just makes me think how many times I've missed stuff like that.
No, you have to be so careful.
I know.
It's so annoying. I got ripped off. What's coming up?
We're going to feel so good about ourselves, guys.
Are we? All right, over here at the Lady Gang, we love our sponsor, Bev. Bev is a female-founded canned wine brand on a mission to transform the alcohol industry as we know it, creating a voice for women where there has never really truly been one before, and doing so in a kind and approachable way. So they have 6 varietals in these adorable, beautiful cans: Rosé, Sauv Blanc, Pinot Gris, Pinot Noir, and they're recently launched in my personal favorite, Sparkling Rosé. So their wines are dry, crisp, and a little fizzy, super refreshing and delicious. They are all 0 sugar, only 3 carbs, and 100 calories per serving. Now, the cans may look tiny, but each one is a glass and a half of wine. Perfect for when you don't want to open an entire bottle and it's just for yourself. A 24-pack is equal to 8 bottles of wine, and I'm telling you, they're great gifting when you go to someone's house. It's a great hostess gift. We love them so much, and we've worked out a special deal. Receive 20% off your first purchase, plus free shipping on all orders. I suggest trying their best-selling Ladies Night variety pack so you can check out all their delicious varietals. Go to drinkbev.com/LadyGang or use code LadyGang at checkout to claim this deal. That's drinkbev, drinkbev.com/LadyGang. Bev can also be found at retailers nationwide, including Target, Total Wine, Bevmo, and more.
Today's episode of Lady Gang is brought to you by Chime. Get ready to kick off 2022 with a better checking account with no monthly fees. Chime, an award-winning app and debit card, has no overdraft fees, foreign transaction fees, monthly fees, or service fees. And with over 60,000 fee-free in-network ATMs at many locations, like most Walgreens, 7-Eleven, CVS, you can access your money when you need it, where you need it. And you can also send money to anyone, and this is super convenient, even if they aren't on Chime. Fee-free for you and no cash-out fees for them. So make your first good decision in the new year and join over 10 million people using Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/lady. That's chime.com/lady. Banking services provided by and debit card issued by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank N.A. members FDIC. Get fee-free transactions at any MoneyPass ATM in a 7-Eleven location and at any Allpoint or Visa Plus Alliance ATM. Otherwise, out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply. Sometimes pay anyone instant transfers can be delayed. The recipient must use a valid debit card or be a Chime member to claim funds.
If there's one thing that I love, it's my Rothy's. And this is a very cool story, but the other day I posted my Rothy's on Instagram and Matt Nathanson DM'd me and was like, my friend started this company. He's from San Francisco. And I was like, keeping it all in the LadyGang family. Rothy's is an amazing company. They make shoes for men and women. They make a ton of other things. Their best-selling shoe, The Point, is worn in offices around the world. They also have other accessories and bags and all kinds of things. But I just feel like they're comfortable, they're washable, they last forever, they're chic, they're affordable. Every Rothy's makes the planet better because they're made with repurposed water bottles, which is incredible. So hit the new year in stride with a fresh pair of Rothy's. I'm wearing my leopard ones at this moment. New customers get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/ladygang. That is Rothys, ROTHYS.com/ladygang.
Now back to the Lady Gang.
Our guest today was once an intern for me at Entertainment Tonight, and you guys know that I hate everyone, so it was actually shocking that I fell in love with her and decided to take her under my wing, be a mentor, tell her to get crazy in her life. Well, mentor, be proud, because in just a few years, my girl has made a super name for herself in the wellness and mental health world with her viral TikToks about the wild generation of body dysmorphia and fakeness of the world, but she's also been incredibly strong and thoughtful on growing up as a athlete, disordered eating, confidence. She loves Taylor Swift. She's getting married. And if you got a holiday lady box in 2018, she definitely packed it for you. Please welcome the host of The Real Pod, Victoria Garrick.
Thank you. I'm so excited. It is such a full circle moment. My mom was all excited for me. She's like, oh my gosh. She's like, if only you knew this when you were working for Kelty.
And the best part is, like, this is such a full circle moment for you, and that was only like 2 years ago. Like,
I know.
what you've done in the past couple years is actually fucking insane and so impressive, and we've never seen that, honestly, from anybody, especially that we've had like a personal connection with.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It is crazy. Let's see. 2015, I interned for Kelty, and then when I packed LadyGang boxes,
let's be honest. You interned for Entertainment Tonight, and I stole you for myself.
Thank
but
goodness you did. I was just that was the best thing that ever happened to me at an internship. And then when I was packing boxes, I was grinding on social. So that was the start.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize you had become a massive social star until I was on Instagram one day and Kristen Bell restoried something from your Instagram. And it was like a quote or something. I'm sure you remember, but I was like, wait, Victoria Garrick, I know that girl. And I go to your page and I'm like, damn, get it. So wait,
I know her.
Did that make you blow up extra even more, or how did that happen?
It's so funny because I have gotten some shout outs from some pretty cool people, as I'm sure you guys have as well. And it doesn't send the entire world to follow you. And I think that's like the misconception. People who like are trying to grow platforms on social media, they're like, just give me a shout out. I want a shout out. I'm like, I was mentioned by Kristen Bell. My follower count, if anything, went down that day. Like no one comes and flocks to your page. But yeah, that was cool. How did Kristen Bell see my stuff? I had a viral video that she saw, and then she followed me, and ever since I overthink everything I post.
Well, I did see you post about that concept of her posting it, and you're like, it didn't do shit. And that's like such an interesting thing, I think, for like any content creator or like podcaster or like whatever. We see the same thing. Like we'll have an A-list celebrity on our podcast and it does fucking nothing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it is interesting that like, it's kind of a cool thing, I think, for you too, because it's actually the content that you're creating and the things that you're putting out, which are making people follow you, and not like a shout out from a celebrity. And I think that makes whatever you're doing like extra cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And so for the people that don't know you from my Instagram or your Instagram, you know, I think you have a really interesting story because looking at you, you're just so fucking beautiful and perfect. And I love that, you know, when we first met, you had just stepped away from your volleyball kind of career. So talk to me about that, being a student athlete, and then how you decided, like, this is what I'm passionate about.
So it is interesting because when we met Kelty, I feel like that was the end of like this version of myself that I was kind of shedding. And I worked at Entertainment Tonight because I wanted to be a broadcaster. Like I thought I want to be a beautiful girl on the sidelines. It was very like superficial. I didn't care about football. I don't like to watch football, but I wanted to be Erin Andrews and like seeing you guys, which obviously you do so much more than look beautiful on TV, but my wanting for that was very surface level. Anyways, I was just beginning my volleyball career at USC. It's Division I. It's very intense. And quickly I just kind of crumbled under the pressure and began dealing with anxiety. I was lifting like pretty much an Olympic athlete, gaining all this muscle. I gained like 30-ish pounds my freshman year. And I just was really torn between, you know, this beauty standard of like, yeah, these reporters on TV, these Instagram models. And then when I walk into the weight room, like being told to lift tons of weight, get muscular, drink the protein shakes. And that really like expedited my body image issues. And then dealing with those two things set me into a depressive episode. And then kind of coming around all of those things, I had this big reflection of like, what is important to me? Why am I so obsessed with making everyone think I have this wonderful life on social media, pretending I'm never anxious, pretending I'm not insecure? I was going hard on the Facetune, like the waist, the cleavage, smoothing the skin. I have this really embarrassing photo where like I pinched my body and on the volleyball court, the entire net and like coach's bench are like warped in the background. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I thought I was fooling with that. And so, yeah, kind of in my healing journey, for like lack of a better term, I kind of rebelled and was like, I'm no longer using Photoshop. I'm no longer being fake. And I went really hard in the direction of like, this is what's really going on. And people were interested in that. People were like, what the heck is happening here? And they took interest. And I continued to share.
That's awesome. How brave to even, like, I'm sitting there thinking about myself and when you said the thing about, I just wanted to be the pretty girl on the sidelines, I'm like, I still have moments as a 36-year-old woman where I'm like, do I want this job because I want to be like considered a beautiful, talented actress? Or do I want this job because I want this job to do the craft that I love to do? Like, how amazing that you can get that real with yourself, and not only get real with yourself, but like with the entire world watching. So you're a special breed.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. It was definitely not easy, like going through all those things. And, you know, to Kelty's intro, just to add color there, I had a binge eating disorder. And so what happened was like, I wanted so badly to be that thin, pretty girl that I was restricting. I was dieting, like every single diet I tried by the time I was like 18. I mean, when I was, and you guys can probably relate to this because you're even like that half generation, like right above me. And then my mom's is like out of whack. I was like drinking Slim Quick shakes when I was like 14 as like a meal replacement. And so the stress and the anxiety like sent the bow and arrow in the complete opposite direction. And I kind of just had to get to a place where you realize if you're seeking validation from the world, you're never going to get it. I mean, it's always changing. I mean, I saw the Kardashians got rid of their BBLs. So now what's trending? Like a smaller butt? I mean, it's ridiculous. And then the trend's going to change again. And we're never, ever, ever going to meet it. Ever. We could get really close. But yeah, I just kind of had that wake up call.
What is a BBL?
It's the Brazilian butt lift.
Oh my God. I was like, okay.
It's like sucking all the fat out of your body and putting it into your butt.
Well, apparently,
so they're not.
Yeah, they got their butts, I think, shrunk, and so now they're saying like
or whatever.
You don't want to have too big of a butt. I mean, I don't even know.
I mean, it's insane.
I think they're just fucking with society, being like, look how influential we are. They could literally put a dick on their forehead, and we'd see women with dicks on their forehead.
Well, I do want to say it is so. Again, you're just so impressive to me because the fact that you're having this self-realization. How old are you?
24.
24. You are 10 years younger than me, and you're having these like self-realizations and self-aware moments that like I am still trying to work on as like a 34-year-old. So I think that is it's so cool to look at, because I look up to you, even like just like following you on social media, everything that you're doing. It's like, I look up to you in so many different ways. And I'm like, I wish I knew that at 24. Like, I was struggling hardcore when I was 24 years old. So like, I think that's such a cool thing. And I hope maybe people in your generation are sort of having those realizations a little bit earlier than us, because our generation in like our 30s right now, it's like we're still like having the backlash from, you know, billboards and the Britney Spears of it all, and like all of that kind of the weight loss magazines and all of that kind of stuff. So it's just cool to see.
Thanks. And it's interesting that you said when you were my age, you were going through it, because when I think about being here now, I genuinely believe it's because I like fell to the quote unquote trenches. I think if I went to a different college and I didn't play sports and I didn't get like pushed to the edge mentally and physically every day, would I have had a breakthrough? And so I almost think people have to go through the really, really ugly to like become self-aware, reroute, and then hopefully like learn from that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't trust anyone who hasn't had their like that moment. So
yeah, no.
Yours just happened earlier. You're lucky.
Well, and that's what's so interesting is that I remember when I first met you and you were like, I just feel like I want to do this thing for athletes and this standard of perfection. And like you really had a clearish, that's an oxymoron, but you know, you knew that you were put on this planet to be outspoken about this. You didn't know how you were going to do it yet, but you had really talked about it. And I remember thinking like, man, this girl, like, she must be so nuts because she's so beautiful and she has no idea how special and perfect and wonderful and like gorgeous she is. And then it's very interesting because on this podcast over the past 6 years, we often hear this feedback of like, oh my God, you guys are so gorgeous, and you're like complaining about your lives or whatever. And I think this is an important point to make. It's that like everyone's on their own internal journey about their own internal shit. And it doesn't matter how perfect it all looks on the outside, even if you're perfect is then going to Facetune you're perfect, or someone thinks you're perfect before the Facetune or whatever that is. I just feel like every single one of us has these like internal demons that we're fighting against, and this conversation that's going in our head nonstop. And it's a real beast. And I think that it's nice to have someone like you to remind us that, you know what? I was just saying this to my friend the other day. I get so used to looking at my own face when I'm like shooting like, hey guys, I'm here with like my Instagram filters, that when I look at my real face in the mirror or a real picture of me, I'm like, wait, what? Why do I look so shitty? Well, it's because you've been using the Mariana Hewitt app on California app, and your nose is skinnier and you're tan.
I need everyone to stop using that app. Like, I'm so confused.
Wait, there's a separate app?
No, I mean, not an app, like a filter.
Oh,
like
yes.
It's a very well used. It's like the Paris filter, essentially.
On Instagram? It's funny you bring that up because I saw an influencer in real life recently. I met her and I was like, something doesn't look right. And then when I saw her posting, I realized it was because the nose becomes like so thinned out and sharp in real life, that in real life she had this cute little round button nose. I mean, it was nothing wrong with it. But yeah, so I've seen that too. Something I will say though, to
weird like thing that you get so used to looking at your like version of you.
It does no good. Like any of those filters, it's not doing an ounce of good for anybody that is using them. It's only doing harm to your own like self-worth and like not realizing what like your face looks like.
Definitely. And Kelty, what you mentioned earlier kind of alluded to, right? Like thin privilege, pretty privilege, things that are very real. And I thought about that a lot recently because I had another friend call me who just did a podcast on the beauty standard, and she got all this hate, and she was like, why am I getting all this hate? And like, you're not getting all this hate. And something I've kind of analyzed a little bit is it's kind of the trend right now for everyone to be talking about insecurities and getting real, and like, it almost, I think, to an audience that knows that person's content or what they stand for like all the years they follow them, to see them then come out. It's not that they like don't believe that person has struggles, but it's like they think they're jumping on what's hot. Whereas I think the reason that I'm guessing people don't hate on me too much is my platform literally evolved from like the honesty about the mental health and the eating disorder and the body image. But I will say, having like the education now, I really don't try to center myself too much in it. Like I don't even do those before and after side by sides anymore, because I'm almost so aware that my before that I used to think was something to be insecure about is something that's not even attainable for someone else. So it is so interesting, because there is a whole group of women who look closer to me and then my content resonates. But then there's a larger group of women who they don't even want to hear it. So I think it's important to like, listen to everything, take everything in, so that, does that make sense? It's a lot.
Actually, well, that's exactly what I stopped doing those for that exact reason. I'm like, but then it's such an interesting conversation, because then it's like, well, then my body dysmorphia is so fucked up that like I think that this is such a big difference, but it's obviously not, and it might be doing like a little bit more harm than it's doing good for a lot of people. So it's like maybe it's just not my place to be doing that. But I think that it kind of does bring up body dysmorphia conversation around that too, because it's like, I think that this one little dimple in my leg is like life ruining to me.
Horrible. And for you, but what I'm saying is that everyone's struggle is real. For you, it is.
But but I think what Victoria is saying is that you need to still have an awareness to the fact that there's pretty privilege and there's thin privilege, and that Jack can hate her body all she wants, but at the end of the day, there's a number on a scale that's telling her objectively that she's a thin person.
Well,
and it's so
even more so, Becca, on that point, it's like Jack might feel insecure, so might I, so might anyone on this podcast, but we still can walk into any store and find clothes that fit us. We still can put a seatbelt on us on a plane. Like we're not facing a general oppression from society because of the way we look.
Yeah, the world is made for our body type.
Having that awareness is all that I think people ask for. And I think that that's with anything that's hard in life. It's, you can't compare yourself to other people. And also you can't sit here and say, just because you're not one of those people who can't fit into an airplane seatbelt, that you're not allowed or deserving to speak your truth. It's just having the awareness about it. And it's like the fertility conversations. It's like, it's not a contest. It's not who has it worse or who has it better. It's, we all have been through the trenches. We all know what it's like to be a woman. It's really hard. And some of us have had much harder, and some have had, like, you know what I mean? Me, relatively speaking, I've been through nothing, but that's not going to say that I'm going to stop talking about it, because there's a reason you're talking about what you're talking about. It's helping other women.
Right.
It's interesting too, because even when you bring up fertility, it makes me think that these days, and I wonder if you guys feel the same, you have to put on like every cap. Like it's almost like if a woman who posts with her baby will get hate, like don't be happy you're with your baby because we can't have the baby. Like I feel like everything I post, if I have a really good day and I buy something nice, I'm like afraid to post it because it's not relatable. And how could you post about those shoes when like people can't afford them? I don't know. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, that's like such a terrible thing that like I think our culture has gotten into, is like people really do struggle with like wanting you to meet their every expectation. If you're on a platform and you have a big following, it's like if you're not posting what they think is acceptable, or if something that you post is not like the absolute perfect thing that they would post, it's like they're not there to read your mind and give you exactly what you want at every single moment. So you can't act out at them when you've had a shitty day and you couldn't pay your rent, and you see that Victoria just bought a new pair of shoes. That's not your cross to bear.
Yeah.
Interesting. I want to just change the topic here for a second. Victoria, something that you talk about a lot was like intuitive eating. And I want to know what that is to you, how you practice it. Because I think people are always interested in how other people have a relationship with food.
Totally. And how you say, you're like, this is how I eat, or like how I eat in a day rather than what I eat in a day. And
I'm actually so excited that you brought that up, because I know you guys have this huge audience of women, and I want to sing intuitive eating like from the mountaintops in case it could help someone. So basically, intuitive eating is like a mindfulness framework and approach to eating that incorporates rational thought, emotion, satisfaction. If we think of it this way, when we have to pee, what happens? Like we get this urge, we have to pee, we go to the bathroom, we tinkle. We don't say, oh my God, I have to pee, but like it's 12 and like I'm not supposed to pee till 1. Or, oh my God, Gwyneth Paltrow only pees like once every Friday. Like I can't pee. We don't get in our head about it. We just get the cue from our body and we do the thing. So eating at like our most, innate form is our intuition. We have a hunger cue. We eat something, we recognize how it feels in our body. If we want to keep eating, we want to stop eating. All of this stuff is amazing. It can be read in the Intuitive Eating book by Elise Resch and Evelyn Triboulet. But anyways, that is what saved my relationship with food, was getting rid of the labels of this is good, this is bad, of society telling you have to eat like these 6 small meals a day, no 3 big meals a day, no stop at 8, no stop at 7, have like lime and water in the morning. It's everyone telling you what to eat. And we never even stop and say, am I actually hungry? And do I want an egg white? And then if you ask yourself the question, you'd be surprised that you might want different things. Before I put a period and then you guys can come out with the questions. I know some people think, oh my God, if I were to intuitively eat, I would just eat and I would never stop. I would eat all the cookies. I would eat all the cake. I would never stop eating. We think that because when we restrict or we view donuts as bad, when we eat the donuts, it's like, oh, I had a donut. Oh my God, I ruined my diet. It's a cheat day. I'm going to eat all the donuts right now because tomorrow those are off limits. It's like your body is in a mentality of get everything in because we know we're taking it away from ourselves tomorrow. It's almost like you're a child and then the diet culture voice is like, you're bad and it's putting you in a corner and you don't ever get to make the rules for yourself. So if you could have donuts whenever you wanted, yeah, sure. Maybe on day 1 of intuitive eating, you would eat the whole box. But if you allow yourself to keep eating for dinner and you can have donuts the next day, eventually, I promise, you're going to say, I don't really want a donut right now. And then you start to slowly be able to listen to your body.
That was amazing. The biggest, I think, turning point when it came to my eating habits and stuff, because my biggest thing was always restriction. I was always on a diet. I was always on a cleanse. I was always doing something. And that's when I would end up binge eating. And it was exactly what you were saying, where it's like, I will not allow myself to go on like anything anymore, like any sort of a restriction with my food. And it's just been such a game changer because it's like, you stop thinking about food so much once you just allow yourself to have the things that you enjoy.
Yeah. And oftentimes if we think back on like a binge, it stems from not giving ourselves the thing that we want. Like if you come home from your day of work and all you want is that cupcake and you're like, no, I can't have that cupcake. So you say, okay, I'm going to have like some cashews and then I'm going to have a rice cake and then I'm going to have like an apple. It's like you start eating all the little healthy things, quote unquote healthy, right? And then you keep eating, you eventually binge. And then the very last thing you eat is that cupcake. And it's like, I wonder what would have happened if you just had the cupcake right when you got home from work and maybe the binge would not have happened.
Yeah. Ugh.
So interesting. I want to ask you, what is one thing that you think our generation, the elders,
I'm like, who's
got really, really wrong that you guys are fucking nailing?
Oh my gosh. I'm like, I just have to pick one. Not that it's you guys' fault. It was like society as a whole.
We got fucked.
I would say, I just feel like the first thing that comes to mind is like, it is women, it is feminism, it is like the messaging around what it meant to be an ideal woman in society, whether that meant like taking up no space, being light as a feather, always having a smile on, like serving people, being selfless was like the best compliment you could give like a woman. I think the way that we are understanding like women and that we don't have to be all those things is super powerful. And even like with wedding things, Jack, I was just talking to someone about this and it's like for your wedding day, if we track back a wedding, it's like the bride is wearing white to symbolize her purity. And like, you've got to be as thin as you can be. Like, I mean, take up the least amount of, it's just fascinating how you can pull all these things back to like this really oppressed, misogynistic version of a woman.
Amen. Amen.
When we come back, Victoria's going to fix your life.
Okay, let's be real. I think we can all probably up our fruit and veggie game. I know that I can because I was on a sugar rage over the holidays and I am just coming back. So this year I want to change that, and that's why I'm keeping my freezer stocked with Daily Harvest. Daily Harvest is the easiest way to get more fruits and veggies into my day every day. They have my back with delicious foods that are good for me and good for the planet. So they deliver delicious harvest bowls, flatbreads, smoothies, and more, all built on organic fruits and vegetables right to your door and conveniently stays fresh in your freezer. So I am obsessed with their flatbreads. I'm also very much in love with their harvest bowls. It takes literally minutes to prepare and never uses preservatives, added sugar, or artificial anything, and that goes for everything. They have so many delicious options for any time of the day. Daily Harvest is all about preserving and protecting the earth also for current and future generations to come. From their recyclable and compostable packaging to investing in organic farming practices and reducing food waste. Daily Harvest makes it easy to feel good about what I'm doing for myself and the planet. Go to dailyharvest.com/lady. Get up to $40 off your first box. That's dailyharvest.com/lady. Up to $40 off your first box. dailyharvest.com/lady.
Hey, this is Kelty Knight from LadyGang, and Valentine's Day is all about love. And for European Wax Center, their love language is a beautiful wax. Whatever your plans, get ready for Valentine's Day with smooth, beautiful skin and the confident state of mind that goes with it. You know what I'm talking about. There is no better feeling than when you walk out freshly waxed, whether it's your arms or your toes or your underarms or your Brazilian, like you just feel so good. And if you want to spice up your wax routine and stay smoother longer, European Wax Center has a specialty formulated skincare line, which is amazing. And the whole month of February, they're giving you $2 off any product purchase. Valentine's Day is on its way. Fall head over heels for smooth skin at European Wax Center. Book your reservation today at European Wax Center. Your first wax is free. We love European Wax Center over here at LadyGang. Book your reservation today. Your first wax is free.
Hey, ladies! Get funky. Ask the Lady Gang.
All right, Victoria, I'm sure you know this part of our podcast, Ask the Lady Gang. We're going to fix our girls' lives, and it's actually embarrassing that you're like so much wiser than us because you're probably going to have way better advice than we could ever dream
hold on.
of.
I want to cut the shame, though, because we grew up 90s with Kate Moss as the ideal woman, and you're never allowed to ask for a raise. I do think that, like, you know, your generation is fucking rad, but you had people writing thoughtful articles in your magazines, not like, you know, like.
Well, we've just been brainwashed for like the past 30-something years.
So much longer. I think, thank God that people are getting wiser earlier.
No, it's not your guys' fault. You wouldn't even been able to.
It was such a shitty way to grow up.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Jack, it's okay. You're okay. I love you. Continue.
Okay. Our first question comes from Anonymous. She says, in the past year, all of my closest friends have gotten pregnant. I'm happy for them, but I can't help but feel like I'm mourning the loss of these friendships. Not only does this feel like the end of girls' trips, but I'm now going to be the only childless member of the group. I'm dreading our group text turning into all baby talk. Do you think I'm overreacting, or do I need to start searching for new friends? Have your friends started having, like, have
You're
you
definitely
had...
the first one to get married, right?
Yeah, no, I am 1,000% the first one to get married. But I do have a close friend who is older than me and childless and like runs into this issue often when like it becomes we all went to the park with our kids, like we didn't invite you, we didn't think you'd want to come, and then you like slowly get ostracized from the group.
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, you can voice that and say to your friends, I love you so much. I'm so happy for you. I'm just scared that there's not going to be a place for me in your new exciting life. And the reality of it is that when people have babies for the first couple years, they really don't have time for you. And that's okay. And you can cultivate other relationships. But what I'm seeing right now is all of my friends have had children, but all their children are about like 4 years and older at this point. And they're having a resurgence of like wanting to get out and wanting to do stuff and wanting to go on trips. So like, it's actually wonderful if you give them a couple years and let them hibernate without shame or guilt and pop over when they need to have a glass of wine and vent, and then just wait for them because they're going to come around again. And in the meantime, find some other really fun friends that you can have more time with.
you got to have different friend groups for other things. Christina's daughter, Carmela, just had her 4th birthday party. And like, I didn't even get a text to come to the birthday party. Why? It was an Encanto themed birthday party. Everyone was coming dressed like a character from Encanto. We were singing the songs. I hadn't even seen the fucking movie yet. I went over to their house and it was like a god. Well, I mean, I saw it now because I got peer pressured into seeing it. But at the time that I went to see Carmela, she started singing all the songs in her little karaoke machine. I was like, I don't know what the f you're talking about. Yeah. And like, I'm just the cool rich aunt, and I know that I'm not the one that you call when you have the elephant birthday party, and that's fine. Like, everyone, you have different friend groups for everything. Yeah. And I also hate this thing that like people get so selfish in their friendships. They're like, I feel like my friend is leaving me, or I feel like my friend has changed. Like, you know that fucking meme where it's like the girl that has one flower coming out of her brain and they're like, you've changed. And then she's like, the next one, she's like all the flowers in her brain. They're like, I hope so. Like, allow the people in your life to grow and change, please.
And I think having a good friendship, like they will be there still. Like even if you're not texting every second of every day because they're dealing with their kids, like this is how adult relationships grow over time. And when people start having their own lives and their own families, like they will still be your friend if they're a good friend. Like they will be there if you need them. They will be there at the end of the day. So I think just like,
exactly,
not everybody is like abandoning you. Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. I'm getting married in August and asked 5 friends to be my bridesmaids. One of them texted me a couple weeks ago and said she didn't think she'd be able to come to my bachelorette party. Her explanation was because she had 3 other bachelorette parties and weddings to go to this year, plus she's already got 2 other vacations planned. I totally understand that bachelorette parties and being part of a wedding can be a huge time and financial commitment, but I'm bummed. Do you think I should give her an out to being my bridesmaid? If she's that busy, she might feel relieved if she has an out, but I'm also worried that she may get offended if I do give her that option. And I know, Victoria, you've been having like answering a lot of like wedding and bridesmaidy type of questions. So I'm sure you've gotten something sort of like this on Instagram.
So wait, this person's question is, should I say you don't have to be in my wedding party if it's too stressful?
Yeah, should I give her an out because she's kind of expressed that it's already too expensive to go to the bachelorette, etc.?
So I think if you're going to give someone the out, it cannot be a test. So you can't say it and secretly think if you say no, like this is a test. If you would be able to go to sleep at night and say, I'm so glad now I have this really concentrated group of 4 girls and we're going to do everything together and that'll still be my homegirl like on another day, that's awesome. But if it's a test, and I think get really clear with yourself about it, don't, because it's just going to get ugly and she has no idea it's a test and she might take the out and I think it might backfire.
It's a really
she's advice. So fucking mature. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Here's the thing about like when you're going into the season of your life where everyone's getting married, it does tend to sort of happen within like this 5-year period, and it is very expensive. And everyone wants their bachelorette party, if you're doing that type of thing, to be fabulous. So it's like, you know, I don't know anyone, even me at this part of my life, that can afford to go on 5 different trips to Cabo this year. Like it's just not possible. And so I think you have to get really clear with why you're asking these people to be in your bridal party if you're having a bridal party and what that means to you. And like if it's they need to be the super fan of your life and follow you around to 6 different events and showers and parties and like for, you know, then that's maybe not a good reason to have them in your bridal party. If they're the person that like you've known that you want to be holding your hand on your wedding day and looking you in the eye the morning that you wake up to get married, then that's like a bridal party. Do you know what I mean? And so you can have a ton of people like friends at the bachelorette party that aren't in the wedding party, and you can have people that aren't at the bachelorette party in your wedding party on your wedding day. Like, but none of it can be a test. And I think Victoria is absolutely right.
I also think communication is huge. Like, did she send you a text that said, sorry, I have 3 other bachelorettes and I won't be able to make it, but like, love you, have so much fun? Or did she call you and say, look, I've been staring at my calendar. I don't know how I'm going to make this work. I'm so excited for you. Like, can't wait to hear about it. And she's going to send you and your friends shots at the, like, I think there are different types of friends and the approach is huge as well.
I literally had a friend, actually Becca and I had a friend who got married and like neither one of us were like, I love to be in a frou-frou Southern wedding party. And like I straight out told her, I was like, I love you. I want to wear black. I want to come to your wedding as your friend. Like I don't really do bridal parties. And she was like, great. And Becca and I sat together in our black dresses and we're like happy as clams, you know? Like I mean, yeah, it's communication, just being honest. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, last question comes from Sexy Time. She says, my boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years, but over the course of COVID, our sex life has gone off a cliff. We have sex once or twice a week, but only if I initiate things. That's a lot. Sometimes he will outright reject me. This is a huge blow to my ego, and even though he says he's still attracted to me, he also said that seeing me struggle through depression through COVID just made him feel like my caretaker more than a lover. Wow. How can I get him to be more interested in a sexual relationship with me again? I don't want to lose him. Wow. Loaded question.
I have one thing I want to say. I'm just like cracking up over here because I never talk about this on my platform. So I love the opportunity to do it here and it be like on brand. I can't like freaking scare away the father of young athletes who follow me. But
I know I was like, do you want to talk about sex?
No, I just have one thing to say that was game changing for me. This book, 8 Dates, is amazing. I suggest everyone read it with their partner who you like haven't married yet. Married people, probably you got it down. But it's called 8 Dates. Anyways, the chapter on sex says couples who are okay rejecting sex with each other more, in turn, have more great sex. Because if you can feel like you can communicate and your partner can say, I'm not in the mood, I'm tired, I'm this, and you're like, okay, no worries. Like, you both are more inclined to initiate and communicate. But the couples who get really upset and there's a huge fight when someone isn't in the mood, it causes way more problems. And so that was game changing for me to read from like psychologists, because then it made me stop getting upset.
That's so true. We just had a conversation about this. Yeah. My fiance tries to initiate sex like 500 times a day, and I deny him 499 times out of every 500. But we have a very open communication, because I'm like, this doesn't mean that I'm not attracted to you, but I still want you to keep like initiating because it makes me feel good about myself. So I think just that makes so much sense, just like having an open communication about it and being okay.
And he's the type of person that can receive that and not take it personally.
Yeah.
Like, that's the important piece of it too, is like, I think men everywhere need to hear that, because it's like the like weird conversations that men get into. It's kind of the same thing that women do, where we're like, ugh, I never want to fuck my husband. They're like, ugh, my wife never wants to fuck me. Yeah. There's this inevitable like baby resentment building, even if it's founded on nothing. So having that open communication, that's so smart.
Also, going back to the whole, like, the way women are perceived, this idea that, and I know where the upsetness of the rejection comes from, but I should be so hot and so sexy that anytime he should just want to do that with me. That doesn't exist. The Margot Robbie that we see in movies, the girl at the bar where the light is shining on her, Minka Kelly, I mean, that doesn't exist. It's fake. It doesn't even exist for them. They get cheated on. They get divorced. Like, so this idea that we should always be like, that doesn't mean you've personally failed and you're not attractive. That's just like the norm.
Yeah. But it's a really interesting thing that you bring up. And this actually has happened to me this month. And like, I guess the 6 months before I turned 40, is that I like really communicated with Chris that I was really feeling kind of fugly in my life, like for no particular reason, but I was like, nothing's changing. Time is not even real. We made it ourselves. But I was like, I just feel so bleh. And I said, I really need you to think I'm hot. And he was like, vroom. And he is like making all these passes at me and being like, you look like, making a conscious effort to like hype me up. Like, he's being a Jared, essentially. He's like, you're hot. Like, I want to, like, all this stuff. And I mean, during a time in our relationship, sorry, this is going nowhere, but in a time in our relationship, there was a time where he just stopped. Like, I trained him to stop being that way, because I was like, I'll let you know when it's time. You know what I mean? But I like really needed that. And I know it's stupid, but I kind of needed him to think I'm hot. It made me feel better about myself.
But it's all just comes down to communication, because he listened, right? Like,
yeah. And I was like, I would love to reject you today. Please try. Please let me be hot enough that you want to have sex with me.
You're going to be okay.
I don't know, guys. Okay. Victoria, first of all, I'm so fucking proud of you. I really am. I quickly want to mention Taylor Swift loving you.
I'm unwell.
Can you tell?
Now, do you think it was really Taylor Swift, or do you think it was her Russian bots?
I refuse to even entertain that thought. Miss Swift was on her phone using her own thumbs. I do these videos where I explain Taylor Swift songs to my fiance Max, and Taylor herself happened to see one, and she commented, and I quote, "Ha ha ha, I cannot stop laughing. I love you. 3 cat emojis."
Ugh, must be her. She was using the cat emoji.
I know.
Okay. Do you listen to the bitch
Although
sesh?
I did not get invited to the All Too Well performance in New York, and I surefire thought I would have made that list given the comment.
How rude. There's
rude.
a podcast called The Bitch Sesh, and Casey Wilson, the actress, is on it, and they talk a lot about like housewives and whatever. But you know how she made the 10-minute music videos? So they refer to them as the short films.
Oh
and their commentary on Taylor Swift, it is so magical. I don't think you'd enjoy it because you're such a stan, but they were just like, they're like, this is truly the most embarrassing thing that anybody's ever done in music.
Oh, see, I feel
they're
the
making
opposite.
fun of her?
I did not, and I was vocal about this. I did not enjoy the Reputation era. I didn't want Taylor Swift in a bodysuit, but I am fully back. Last night I went on a walk around my neighborhood, and I was singing, "I bet you think about me when I..." And I was like singing at the top of my lungs.
That's because I feel like would have been your jam. That whole thing is like,
I know.
No,
Say
I
whatever
love
you want about
revenge.
me. I don't know why it wasn't my thing.
They're
Does
like
seem like
talking
it
about
would be.
how they can't believe that she still can't let these things go. Like she's a grown ass
that's me.
woman.
That's
and
me.
that's what it is. They're like the
is very
14-year-olds that are like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to it. And then how at the end of the Jake Gyllenhaal one, how she's like, and I bet you still love me or something. And they're like, no, he doesn't.
I cannot stand for this slander, but we don't have enough time. But what I'll quickly say is that she's just reliving and expanding on an art form. I don't think she has personal feelings towards Jake
feel
Gyllenhaal.
nothing
She not
for Ryan
teaching about
She
that
sent Joe
scarf.
Jonas a baby gift.
I feel nothing about our mutual ex-boyfriend, but I will troll it till the end of my days because I think it's so funny.
Kelty, earlier today you said you were still a little salty about it. So
I am a little salty about it, but I'll be salty forever.
means
It doesn't
you
mean
need-
that I wish my life was any
You
different.
need more bad things to happen in your life so that you're not walking up the hills of LA the one thing that's on your mind is your ex-boyfriend, and Taylor Swift is the only remedy.
I mean, she is a fucking remedy. Okay.
She's
Victoria-
really fucking amazing. I do agree.
incredible.
And she's
Please come on the LadyGang. And if
listen
you
to
want to
this
listen to
episode.
Come on
Victoria,
Real Pod first,
if you want
if
to
you're
listen to
listening.
Victoria's podcast, you
She's
can
not
listen to
listening.
Real Pod every Wednesday wherever you get your podcast. She's wonderful.
And I've almost done the trifecta. Jack's coming next.
coming
but there's
soon.
3 Lady Gang episodes.
We will post those, and you can follow Victoria at Victoria Garrick on all her social medias and be added to her 1.3 million followers.
give 1.5 million followers.
On TikTok. So it's different currency than IG, you know?
TikTok's where it's at. I just discovered it a week ago. It's great.
Exactly. We're elder. Okay, we love
Thank you guys.
Victoria,
I love
we
you.
love you.
we love
All
you.
the best.
Thanks for listening. The Lady Gang is produced by Alex Ingber, Steve Delameter, and Jared Monaco. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. And if you love it, share it with your friends on social media. Oh my God, I just listened to Lady Gang. This episode's so great. Swipe up to listen. And if you really want to, which we know you do, please follow us on social at Kelty, at Becca, at Jack Vanek, and at The Lady Gang. Sign up for our newsletter at theladygang.com and join our secret Facebook group. It's super fun. See you next Tuesday.
I'm Martin Cove. You know me as Sensei John Kreese from Cobra Kai and the Karate Kid trilogy, as well as Rambo and 6 Years on Cagney and Lacey. I'm hosting a new podcast, Kicking It with the Coves, with my kids, Rachel and Jesse Cove.
We're digging into the characters, roles, and unforgettable scenes that have made an impact on all of us.
We'll be joined by actors, producers, writers, and other members of the incredible teams who've helped create the programs we all love to watch.
We'll dive into character development, behind the scenes, antics, personal stories, and so much more.
And the impact it's all had on the lives of our guests, their families, and the fans.
So, listen to and follow Kicking It with the Coves, now at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podcast One. Do you have a problem with that?
No, Sensei!
I mean, Dad.